looking at here. All right, Mason, good looking swing. He's just a good athlete. He does everything in a nice way. He's balanced. He's controlled. He's probably a little too controlled, if you ask me. He's got a little bit of Acuna's disease here. We need to wake up the meanness in him a little bit. It's one of those things where there's, nothing wrong with that, but my goodness, with the tools he's got, he could really, really be something. Okay, on the load, I like how he loads with the lower body, loads with his body. He's not just a hand loader. A lot of times you see a kid as strong as he is, they'll just hit it with their hands. But no, he gets back. Same thing as all the guys, is a little bit on top, although he stays, there's vertical. He stays more inside of it than most of the guys do, really. And as a result, from there, see, he's starting to move forward now. So he's got a little better wall back here that he's pushing off of. Coming forward, right there, he looks to me like he's just going to fall on his front foot, like the other guys, and be committed early. And he does a little, but right there, he softens his back knee just a touch, and that lets him be a little softer on his landing there. So he could put an ounce of delay in there if he needs to. I wouldn't mind seeing him basically stay like that back leg, never get that straight. Like, where did he flex it a little? Like right there, see where he's flexing it a little? Like, don't ever get straighter than that. Don't get back up here like that. Stay like that, like that with your back knee. And what that'll let you do is be going more out with this front leg than down, so that you can get the foot down. And if you have to, you can hold that heel up for just a millisecond with your toe while you're timing the ball coming in. Excellent, centered, right on balance at foot strike. Everything looking good. Hips starting to see the wrinkles in the shirt. Hips starting to go in front of the shoulders. Maybe a little more downward tilt of the shoulders. His are, at that point, are right there. Most of the elite hitters you see at this point, their shoulders are more like that. So maybe we could talk to him about pointing that front shoulder at the ball a little longer. That would encourage more separation. He naturally, gets his hips in front of his shoulders, but that high shoulder is going to tend to open up a little soon. See, there it goes. Decent drive with the back leg. I think if he stayed a touch lower with it in his load and came forward so that he was stopping himself with his front leg, getting a really rigid, more like Fehrenbach, getting a really rigid anchor on the front. But boy, he stops it all pretty good, and he's he's on balance. He might be dragging his elbow, a little bit, He's dragging his elbow through right there. It looks to me like this elbow really should be back a little. A little bit like, for those of you that saw Jordan's video, how he leads through with his elbows, and again, that's going to take away some of your ability to time it. But he gets to there, good firm looking base. Again, shoulders went a little early, drug the elbow a little, but no doubt in my mind that he is going to be able to hit. So, for Mason, my suggestions are lower that load just a hair. Oops. Lower that load just a hair. Stay squatted on the back leg a little more so you don't fall off of it quite so much. Lower that front shoulder. Keep the front shoulders closed a little bit longer. Think of it in terms of, like right there, so he's got it pointed at the ball. Like, try to hold it there just a beat longer. Don't let it fly open quite so early. And work on dragging that elbow, or not dragging that elbow, I should say. But he's close and looking good. Okay, I'm going to do a little side-by-side with Votto and Mason. Using Votto because he's using a similar kind of lift and step back where his foot was as Mason is here. So I think it'll make a good comparison. First thing you notice is that Joey's quite a lot wider than Mason. Overall width I'm not worried about too much. I would like to see Mason get softer knees, sit down in it a little more. You can already see Joey has his thighs in on the act, and Mason's kind of standing up on top of them. The other thing, I'm always talking about their back foot's being turned out a little bit. Look at Votto's. It's turned in slightly. You just get a lot better hip turn if you don't let that back foot turn out a little. It's like I said, all the boys do it, but we need to keep an eye on them. Tell them to turn that foot in. All right, let's start Mason and see what he does here. Okay, he loads. Good job loading, but I've mentioned before that he gets quite far back, and what I mean by that is if I draw a line from his foot through his knee straight up, he's not outside his back foot, but he's not far from it. You know, he's standing up on that back leg. He's not pressing against his back leg as an anchor. He's standing up on it. Joey demonstrates what I'm talking about, using your back leg as an anchor and pressing against it. See, he didn't really even come back much. He just, I mean, you can see his weight come back, you can see the force come back, but his body and everything really doesn't move back all that much. He just presses against that back leg, which is way behind him. So here they're both as loaded up as they're going to get, and you can see Joey's got all this energy back here at this angle, and he's going to transfer all of it into a very firm front leg with quite a bit of power. Mason is on top of it, and his things go in the right order. He steps, you know, legs and then hips and then shoulders, which is good, but by staying as on top of it as he is, he loses a lot of the power down here that Joey is tapping into. Mason's essentially losing his thighs. So the good news is, what we're seeing from Mason's mechanics is he's doing things in the right order, and he's maintaining angles, which is what very high level Joey Votto does. However, the angle he's maintaining is not as advantageous as it could be. Joey's got a lot of energy stored up right here right now. Mason really not using that thigh too much. So he's going to turn his hips, but he's just sort of turning them on top of his legs. Joey is really driving it through with his back leg. So let's watch Joey drive his through. Now let's watch Mason drive his. Okay, so you can see right there, they have both fully transferred the weight to their front legs. Joey's leg is really straight and rigid. Mason's is still a touch soft. He didn't get his heel down quite as quick in relation to his swing as we would like. Again, that's super common. All the boys do it. You're going to hear me say a million times, get your front foot down a little quicker. Main reason is we want to start it with our hips. And first step in that is you post that front leg and fire the hips around it. But you can see they both come off their angle, but now the angle is there from their base, you know, to their head. And there's Joey's. look how far Joey's came. He took his mass, center of gravity, if you will, from here to there with his eyes staying still. Mason went from here to there, and his eyes moved a little bit. So he didn't move anywhere near as far, nowhere near as much energy with his lower body. I don't want them lunging. I don't want their heads moving around a whole lot. But Joey is showing right here that it's very possible to get a tremendous amount of torque and energy use out of your lower body without your eyes going anywhere. And his center of balance stayed the same. He didn't move around a lot. He threw his mass around an axis, and the key to everything is his eyes stay where they are. Let me clear that. One other thing that I wanted to point out is look how far apart Joey's elbows are at contact as compared to Mason's. If we back it up just a little bit, this is another extremely common thing in youth hitters. If I take the point, let's say right there, where Mason's front elbow passes his nose, and do the same thing for Joey, right in there somewhere. See how Mason has inverted his back elbow and he's kind of pulling it underneath? At that point, he has disconnected a lot of the power that he did generate here. Again, he didn't generate as much because he took his legs out of it a little bit. But what he did generate, he took it out right here. When he allowed that elbow to flip over, he kind of disconnected his shoulders and everything from here up from the bat. And now he's just slinging the bat around with the rotation of his whole body, whereas Joey still has a very good connection between all the twist here and his bat. He has a much better anchor for his arms. So if we advance him to contact, you'll see he swings through. The angle of his elbows does not change a whole lot. And all of the twist of his body is transferred into his shoulders and ultimately into his bat. Whereas Mason's, it's kind of slung around it. I wish I had a better term for it, but see how he's not in a good strong position there because his back elbow is up under his front one. I don't mean it should be way away from his body. I just mean it should be back here somewhere. Still close to his body, but not way out in front of his hands. Watch Joey's hands in relation to his lead elbow. His hands never come, or back elbow I mean. His hands actually stay in front of his back elbow. Mason's back elbow is obviously way in front of his hands. And again, this is one of the points that just about all the boys do it. But if we want to take these guys, from being these guys to being this guy, we need to watch that. And it's not just Joey. All of the elite hitters keep their elbow, if not behind their hands, then very close to it. They don't let their back elbow get way in front of their hands like that. But having said all that, I'm looking for ways to improve here. Mason's looking good. I think he's going to have a really good year. We're just trying to go from good to great here. Looking forward to it.